He didn't notice the moment his heartbeat slowed, but he remembered the moment his mother stopped calling. By then, he was too deep, deeper than the needles, deeper than the alleys, deeper than the lies. This isn't a story about drugs. It's a story about the things a man loses before he realizes they're gone.
The slow fade. The first thing people usually lose to addiction isn't money. It isn't health. It's time. And time was the one thing Marcus Grant once believed he had plenty of. He wasn't born into misery. He didn't grow up in some dangerous neighborhood where every corner sold a shortcut to hell. He was born in Cleveland, Ohio, in a quiet brick house on East 103rd Street. His mother, Linda, worked 2 jobs, one at a diner and one as a home health aide. His father had left early, but Linda used to say, "Baby, a missing man can't hurt you as much as a broken one." Marcus grew up believing her. He played baseball, laughed with friends, graduated high school with grades decent enough to give him options. But like so many kids his age, he didn't know what to choose. He worked retail, construction, odd jobs. He had dreams, but no map. Then came the pain. A stupid accident, really. He slipped on a wet ladder while painting a house and fractured 2 ribs. The doctor wrote him a prescription. A small orange bottle. Oxycodone, 5 milligrams. "You'll need these for a few days," the doctor said. Days turned into 2 weeks, 2 weeks into a month into something darker. At first, the pills took away the pain. Then they took away the stress. Then the boredom. Then the loneliness he didn't know he had. And slowly, one swallow at a time, they took him. At 25, Marcus began floating through life like a man watching himself from a distance. He felt the world softening around the edges like someone had turned down the sharpness on a camera. He hadn't realized it then, but this soft blur was the beginning of the fade. His mother noticed before he did. "Baby, why are your eyes always heavy?" she asked one morning. "Just tired," he said. "You've been tired all month." "I'm fine, Ma." But he wasn't fine, and she knew it. Linda tried to confront him gently at first, then with more force. But Marcus always had excuses, plenty of them. Work was stressful, pain was flaring back up, insomnia, anxiety. He'd say anything at all to avoid admitting the truth even to himself. The next year was a blur. He lost his job because he kept showing up late. He blew through his savings, then borrowed from friends, then stole from his mother's purse once when he thought she wouldn't notice. She noticed. One night she came home early and caught him searching through her bedroom drawers. "Marcus, what are you doing?" Her voice was full of heartbreak deeper than anger. He froze. The lies evaporated in his throat. And for the first time, the shame washed over him so hard, his knees nearly buckled. "Ma, I'm sorry," he whispered. But sorry wasn't enough. She cried. He cried. She begged him to get help. He promised he would, and that night he meant it. But addiction is a clever enemy. It waits. It whispers. It convinces. It returns. The next morning, he used again. And by the end of the year, the orange bottles were gone, replaced by cheaper, riskier substitutes from darker corners.
The fall. The first time Marcus shot up, it wasn't his idea. It was a guy he knew from the neighborhood, Andre, a smooth-talking dealer who looked like he'd been born with sad eyes. Addiction made them unlikely friends, but misery recognizes itself. "This'll hit faster," Andre had said, tapping the syringe. Marcus hesitated, terrified. Needles were something he swore he'd never touch. But pain does strange things to people, especially emotional pain. And by then, Marcus wasn't running from withdrawal or cravings. He was running from himself. The needle went in. His world went out. After that, everything changed. He drifted between rundown apartments, abandoned houses, strangers' couches. He stole more: money, electronics, anything he could pawn. He watched friends overdose, watched ambulances roll away without sirens because the victims were already gone. He saw things he never talked about. And through it all, addiction whispered, "One more time. Just one more. You can quit later." Later never came. One night, Marcus overdosed. He woke up on a cold sidewalk behind a convenience store. Two paramedics stood over him. One shook his head. "Man, you're lucky," the other said. "Most don't wake up." Lucky. He didn't feel lucky. They took him to the hospital. His mother came, tears streaming down her face. She held his hand like he was 5 years old again. "Baby, please," she begged. "I can't bury you. I can't watch you die." For a moment, just one, he wanted to quit. Wanted to live. But addiction is a demon that doesn't leave just because you've seen hell. It takes more than fear to kill it. After discharge, he stayed clean for 5 days. 6. 7. On the 8th day, the cravings dragged him back. He didn't tell his mother. He just vanished again.
The bottom. Homelessness isn't just hunger or cold. It's the silence. The long nights when no one is calling your name, when no one is expecting you home, when you disappear and the world keeps moving without you. Marcus slept under bridges, in shelters, sometimes in cheap motels when he got lucky or desperate. He started using fentanyl-laced pills without caring. He knew what fentanyl did. Everyone did. But when a man stops caring about life, warnings become suggestions. His world shrank to one thing: the next high. Winter in Cleveland was brutal. The cold seeped into his bones, but the drugs numbed it. He wrapped himself in old blankets, stood outside gas stations asking for spare change, lied to strangers about needing bus money just to afford another bag. He forgot birthdays, forgot what month it was, forgot who he used to be. The only thing he didn't forget was his mother. But he couldn't go home. Not like this. Not as the ghost he'd become. The breaking point came on a freezing January night. Andre, the guy who introduced him to needles, OD'd beside him in an abandoned garage. Eyes open, skin gray, no pulse. Marcus shook him, screamed his name, hit his chest. Someone called 911, but it was too late. Andre died with snow settling on his eyelashes. Marcus stared at him for a long time, feeling something inside him crack so violently it hurt worse than any withdrawal. That night, he walked to a bridge overlooking the Cuyahoga River. The water below was black, swirling, freezing. He leaned forward, closed his eyes, felt the wind against his face. One jump and it's over. He wasn't thinking of death. He was thinking of silence, peace, rest. Then his phone buzzed. He had forgotten he even still had it. It was a message from his mother. "Marcus, baby, I still believe in you. Please, come home." He stared at the words for a long time, shivering, crying silently. And then he stepped back. Just one step. It saved his life.
The rise. The next morning, Marcus walked into a detox center. It wasn't dramatic. No inspirational music, no applause, just a broken man choosing to try. Detox was hell. Vomiting, tremors, hallucinations, pain stabbing every muscle, hours stretching into eternities, nurses checking vitals, offering encouragement he couldn't hear over the screaming in his head. For the first 3 days, he begged to leave. By day 5, the fog started lifting. By day 8, he could think again. By day 10, he could feel again. That was the worst part. Because once the drugs left, the guilt returned, all at once. He cried daily. He apologized to his mother over and over. She stayed by his side. After detox came rehab, 90 days in a residential center, with strict schedules, therapy sessions, group meetings, job training, and responsibilities he hadn't carried in years. He resisted at first, got angry, walked out twice, came back twice. But slowly, something softened inside him. He started talking in group therapy, sharing his story, listening to others. He realized he wasn't alone. Addiction didn't make him evil, it made him human. When he heard how many people blamed themselves, hated themselves, called themselves failures, something sparked inside him. He wanted to help them, wanted to lift others from the same darkness that nearly swallowed him. By month 3, he became one of the strongest voices in group sessions. The counselors noticed. His mother noticed. Even he noticed. But recovery isn't a finish line. It's a daily decision. After rehab, he lived in a sober home, got a job at a warehouse, attended NA meetings regularly. Some days were easy. Some days were brutal. Some days he woke up craving a high so intensely he feared he might relapse. But he didn't. He built routines. He cut ties with old connections. He focused on rebuilding, not chasing. And slowly, piece by piece, life returned.
The new beginning. 2 years clean. Marcus stood on a stage at a community center in Cleveland, telling his story for the first time. The room was full, recovering addicts, families, counselors, teenagers, even police officers. He was nervous, his hands shook, but when he looked at the crowd, he didn't see judgment. He saw people who understood. Addiction isn't about bad people, he told them. It's about broken people trying to feel whole. They listened, really listened. When he stepped off the stage, people hugged him, thanked him, shared their own stories. A young man shook his hand and said, "You made me believe I can change." Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in years: purpose. He started volunteering, visiting schools, helping others into treatment, speaking at recovery centers. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, but he was alive, and alive was enough. He went home that night, sat at the kitchen table with his mother and said, "Ma, thank you for not giving up on me." She smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "Baby," she whispered, touching his cheek, "I knew my son was still in there." And for the first time in years, Marcus believed it too. But not the end. Addiction didn't disappear. The cravings didn't vanish. The memories didn't fade. But he learned something powerful. You don't beat addiction once. You beat it every day. And for Marcus, every sunrise was another victory.